Hello everyone! This is your favorite Murtid. Salamul Masih, peace of Christ be with each and every one of you. I hope you guys are having fun. And hello, welcome everyone back to our live stream. I hope you guys had some nice time in the last few days before we last met. Sunday, you must have enjoyed my session with Robert Spencer on his latest book, The Critical Muhammad's Biography. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you haven't enjoyed it, man, you gotta go and watch it. That happened this Sunday. Um, and thank you so very much for being here, everyone. Salam Aaron, long time. Welcome back, sister. YJ, thank you. Sam John, thank you. Neha, Sheza, Bob, CGDT, welcome everyone. David, all the regulars are already here. So, guys, please do like and share because we are going to do a second session with Saint Murad. A few months ago, we did a session with Saint Murad and where he explained some of the stuff to us. And then he explained that he was doing a Quran translation and he explained some of the sin narrative to all of us, like 10 of the sin narrative. So today he's going to explain a little bit more about all of these things. So please, if you liked the last session with Saint Murad, then today's stream you will definitely love it. So without any delay, let me invite our favorite friend, Saint Murad. Welcome, Mr. Murad. How are you doing?
Hello, Adam. It's always great to be with you. And let me tell you this time, Namaste Bahai. You
Oh,
see, I
you're
only know these
learning
two
Hindi,
words.
man.
Yeah, I only know these two words plus the word Behan. So maybe next time I will learn a few words.
So you'll
Either.
you'll have to
Yeah,
say Namaste Bhai and Bhan. So Bhai means brothers, Bhan means sister. So you have to add both of them then.
yeah. Namaste, my Bahai, and my Behan. Really.
Awesome. Now you're right on spot. Good one, good one, good one. Good job. All right, sir. So we have already seen your last stream. You did it over here where you showed us some issues with the sin narrative. And today you want to expose the sin narrative in detail for your next Quran translation, which you have already done it. So, what would you like to say to begin with before you open your presentation?
Yeah, the sin is the standard Islamic narrative, and this. Like this term, it could mean a lot of things. Some people think just the Quran exegesis, others think just the Hadith. Well, I say that the standard narrative is probably all of Islam except the Quran. Why is that? That's what I will explain in this presentation. And the standard narrative, as Yasser Qadi said, it has holes in it. And these holes, of course, corrupt Quran translations and corrupt the whole understanding or interpretation of how Islam actually began. This sin covering ruined the reality of how Islam began because maybe it started as a Christian heresy, maybe it started as a sect of Jews who were heretics also. All of this stuff you will never get because you have the sin. They put Muhammad in a faraway land, which is a virgin land which no one ever touched, no one ever saw, so that they could create the story from scratch. This is the sin, you see?
Oh, interesting. Yes, you explained some of the sin last time when you exposed maybe 10 different aspect or 10 different sin narratives. So it was a wonderful stream. We all enjoyed it. I am eager to learn more today. So the mic is yours, the stage is yours. And friends who are watching us live, guys, come on, please like and share the video with as many people as you can. Now is the time. Share, 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 share. Send it to everyone because this is going to have some fun. All right, there we go.
You see the presentation, right?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, so the standard Islamic narrative, or hoax as I call it, what is the standard Islamic narrative? It is the exegesis of the Quran, it is the Hadith, the biography of Muhammad, Asbab al-Nuzul or reasons of dissension, fraudulently translated as why was this verse revealed, Mecca and Medina phases. The question is this stuff valid to crack the Quran? If you want to really know where the Quran came from, because the Quran is a very obscure book, very strange and weird book. A Persian Quran? If I were to give you a Spanish book and ask you to explain it in detail, do you think it would be a good idea to ask someone who knows Spanish? This question is for you, Adam. Do you think it would be a good idea?
Yeah, if it is a Spanish book, then as a Spanish, then yes.
Then why, when it comes to the Quran, you ask someone who does not know Arabic, or at least he's not very fluent in Arabic? I'm talking about Al Tabari, Al Baghawi, etc. These people, they were Persians. They didn't know proper Arabic. Most of
Ouch.
them were Persians who didn't speak Arabic well. This is why the exegesis of the Quran is laughable. Back in 2020, I made a video with my friend Mel proving that the Umayyads and the Abbasids might have been from Central Asia, and it is also very clear from all the drawings that they have of early Muslims. Even if you look at Saladin or Salahuddin, as they say in Arabic, his very first coin, he looks like an Asian. So,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, what do you think so far?
Interesting, very interesting. So the early Quran tafsir writers were Persian, and even Salahuddin was South Asian. So where are the Arabs?
Yeah, this is the question that I want people to think about because we will ask this question multiple times throughout this presentation.
Interesting.
So, what is the caliph's role in it? You see, the caliph, he was the, like today, the president, and back in the day, it was a dictatorship. We are not 100% sure of their motives. A lot of politics was going on because the caliphs used to decide. So they used to decide what is in the Quran, what's not in the Quran, what's part of the Hadith, what's not part of the Hadith. All of this stuff you can't finalize without the caliph's approval. So why even listen to them? Is this because it is a general Islamic consensus? Bad idea. So it's a bad idea to rely on Islamic literature just because it's a general consensus that comes back from the 9th century. Back to these Persians. Ironically, the Quran is the only book where if you want to know the meaning of a word, you never open a dictionary, if you think about it. Instead, you go to Persians who neither lived in the same century as Muhammad, nor were Arabs, nor lived even close to the Hijaz. And the main problem with these interpretations or tafsir is that they are built on flimsy reports. This guy said to this guy, said to this guy. They call it ilm al-rijal or science of men. Who are these people? These are random people, sometimes even made up to complete the chain of narration because it was made, created, and fabricated much later. Why should I base my Quran translation on these tafsirs that are clearly a big sham? This is the question.
Oh, let's go back.
Yeah.
So let me remind everyone, the people who has been listening to me is but rather we have done that in last Sunday stream as well. That in the early part of Islam, 80 to 90 years after the death of Muhammad, uh, like 710, 705 AD, the first narratives were given without chain of narrations. And then within 10 years, people started to say, where are you getting this story from? So by 720, 730, people started to attach some people to those stories, fabricated people. And then yesterday, we looked into it, that there are certain people who claimed that this story was given to them by some people, and those people were in the mosque as well. For example, Ahmad bin Hanbal was there in the mosque and he said, "Hey, I never said that." And he said, "Are you the only Ahmad bin Hanbal? I know of seven Ahmad bin Hanbals." And then there was another story with Yahya bin Sulaiman, and he heard and he said, "Yahya bin Sulaiman said, I never said that." He's like, "Oh, I know many Yahya bin Sulmans. You are not the only one." Duh. And so on and so forth. So in the historical context, when we look at it, the chain of narrations or the chain or the science of people, ilm rajal, were added almost 200 years after the death of Muhammad, or supposedly by the Quran after the Quran. Now the problem with this narrative is simple, and what Murad is saying is, when I am reading the Quran, why should I look at these stories in which the people who are narrating the stories is a sham and nobody knows those people, and even the people whom these stories were associated with, they are saying, "Hey, I never said that." And then people have to create some kind of a science 500 years after these stories to say, "No, this story is right," and hence we have to look at the Quran transmission through these stories. So this is the more explanation of this single uh, slide. Yes, Murad, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And let me tell you that the word isnad that they put to the hadith, this word itself gives it all away. This word is funny. The word isnad means support something from falling, meaning that this something is falling. Isnad, they're trying to support a building that's gonna collapse. You see?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So, what is a sin Quran exegesis? This is Al Tabari. An overarching theme in Quran exegesis is that anything that the Quran commentators do not know the meaning of, they throw it into afterlife because they know that no one can come back to life and prove them wrong. This is a very sleazy marketing tactic if you think about it. An example would be the word Kawthar in Surah 108, verse 1. They say it means it is a river in paradise, which is pure comedy. Now, why do they do that? Because when you die, you're not going to come back and say, well, it turned out that it was not a river in paradise. This is all over Quran exegesis. Plus, how do they know that this is a river in paradise? Did they go there? So, this kind of stuff shows you how much of a farce this is. And also, the word Kawthar, it could mean an abundance in children for Muhammad. This is another explanation. It shows you how far off, how wrong these people are.
Oh, so Surah Kausar. So the sin narrative for Kausar is that Muhammad was not getting male children. And Allah says, "Inna a'tayna kal Kausar." I am going to give you Kausar. And the sin narrative is that, Muhammad, don't worry, you are not getting male children. I'm gonna give you a river or a particular pond in the Jannah, when the people will be so thirsty because the sun will be very close, 1.25 spear close. I don't know how the sun can be 1.25 spear close to the earth, but anyhow, forget that part. Don't think about logic and science in here. The narrative is that the sun will be so close and people will be so hot that they want to drink water, and supposedly Muhammad is going to give them water from that hose, from that pond which is called Kausar, and they will never feel thirst again. So you are saying Kausar means something else. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, the word Kawthar is not Arabic. So when you look at the work of Christoph Luxemburg, when he looks at the Syrio-Aramaic layers of the Quran, you will find that this word is actually Syriac, but you will have to remove one dot. When they put the Arabic, they ruined it. So it will be Kuttar. Kuttar would be an abundance, but in time, not an abundance in children. And this is meant for the monks, Christian monks. They had this abundance in prayer and in time. You see, so
So instead of
this
three
is
dots,
the
somebody should have put two dots in, because the dots were
yeah,
put on the Quran 200 years after the death of Muhammad, supposedly. So there should be two dots, not three dots.
exactly. And this is what goes well with the explanation that the Quran is actually Qiryana, which is the Syriac word for lectionary. And this is, of course, the hypothesis by Christoph Luxemburg, the Syrio Aramaic reading of the Quran. So you see, what I want to say here is that Al Tabari or these people, if they do not know the meaning, they should shut up. So they clearly do not know what these words mean, and they just stuff Muhammad in there when he's not there.
Interest.
Now, they always say the phrase, the people of knowledge differed about this issue, about everything. Even قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, there is a lot of differences. When you ask today's Arabic speaking Muslims, why do Muslim commentators differ about every single issue in the Quran? They will say something along the lines of, this is because of the mercy of Islam. Of course, this is not such. This is because Islamic exegesis is so ignorant about the Quran. Just this reply, at the very least, is stupid, at the very most, is absurd. You see?
So the
Ano-
mercy of Islam is that people
yeah.
will not know what the Quran says.
All
So the
these
mercy of Quran.
contradictions, all these contradictions are the mercy of Allah. That's what they say, at least in the Arabic speaking world. Maybe they don't say this in English because they will know that they will be laughed at so hard. You see?
Unbelievable.
Another overarching theme in all these tafsirs or exegesis of the Quran is the word Allahu A'lam, meaning Allah is more knowledgeable. By the way, fraudulently translated as Allah knows best. This is wrong. Why do they have this phrase? It is not because they are humble, it is because they really do not know what the Quran is talking about. I mean, picture this. Someone in the street, he could tell you, excuse me, where is the nearest Starbucks? And you will say, well, basically, there are 9 opinions.
I love this one. I just love this one. You gotta send this slide to me.
Okay. You will say, you, sir, you are crazy. That's if someone on the street. So who you would trust more? If the same guy asks me, where is the nearest Starbucks, I will tell him 61 Ninth Avenue. That's it. Why? Because I know the answer. But these other people, they do not know the answer because they do not have the key to crack the Quran. That's why they keep contradicting one another like crazy. What do you think so far?
Love it.
Okay, we will shift now to the Sunnah. The Sunnah, it didn't come from Arabia. The Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, it didn't come from Arabia, it came from Transoceania. Now, who are these people? Al Bukhari, Nisapuri, Qazwini. These are the Sihah al-Sitta. These are the 6 Sahih which we should take the Sunnah of Muhammad from. Now, where were these people born? Let's look at these people. Al-Bukhari, he was born in Uzbekistan, writer of Sahih al-Bukhari. Al-Nisapuri, Sahih Muslim, Iran. Al-Qazwini, Sunan ibn Majah, Iran. Just his name gives it away. Al-Qazwini means the Caspian. He is from the Caspian Sea. This guy is from Nishapur, Iran. Sunan Abi Dawood, Iran. Al-Ash'ath, Al-Tirmidhi, Uzbekistan. Sunan al-Nasa'i, Turkmenistan. These people, they were born here, not there. Now let's pinpoint them on a map. Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Iran. And here is the Caspian Sea of Al-Qazwini. No one is from Arabia. What do you think?
Oh no, you forgot the map. You have to overlay this map on Arab. So Arab is right underneath them. Come on, man.
Yeah,
This is
so,
yeah.
yeah.
This is really stupid. By the way, that every single person, and I was talking about this yesterday with some of the people. about the same problem, that none of them are from Makkah, Medina, or anywhere around there. They're all from like hundreds of kilometers away, 600 to 1200 kilometers away.
Exactly. Now, also, oral traditions survive at the place it was born in. Like, for example, the indigenous people of America. If I want to ask them about their ancestry, their history, even their old myths, I will ask them because they are in America. They lived there. These are the generations of the same people. Now, since all Sunnah writers came from places other than Arabia, then the claim of oral traditions being passed down from Prophet Muhammad is a complete fraud because it's from a very different area, very different language. No way oral traditions survived and then went all the way to Iran. You see?
Absolutely, right on the spot.
Now let's talk about Sahih al Bukhari a little bit. Is it a hoax? Sahih al Bukhari doesn't have one original manuscript. This Moroccan scholar wrote a whole book about it. Until now, no one has debunked him. In Arabic, it says Sahih al Bukhari Nihayat Ustura, meaning Sahih al Bukhari, the end of a myth. Debunking him requires one thing and one thing only, a manuscript from the time of al Bukhari. That never happened.
Because none of the Muslims ever have a single original Bukhari, ever. That's why they cannot destroy him.
Exactly. Muslim scholars created a pseudoscience called Ilm al-Rijal, which is hocus pocus, as I told you. Now, what about the other six, Sahih al-Sitta? People could say, well, Bukhari doesn't have, maybe the other ones have original manuscript. Well, their case is even worse than Bukhari, as explained again by this Moroccan scholar in his book. He wrote this book in Arabic, and no one could take it down because they cannot debunk him. Plus, not all the writings are about Muhammad in Bukhari. You have the story of the she monkey getting stoned. This is in Al Bukhari, which has nothing to do with Muhammad. It's just a very clumsy story that is not usually translated into English of how stupid it is. You see?
No, no, Brother Murad, you don't understand. Islam is saying that humans were created from monkeys. That is why when she monkey actually had sex with a monkey whom she was not married, the rest of the monkeys stoned the she monkey. Come on, brother. That proves evolution, that humans came from monkeys and they marry each other. She monkeys marry monkeys. And if they don't, then the monkey, male monkeys, stone the she monkey because she cannot have sex out of marriage, brother.
I don't know what to tell you, but remember that even if you are right, then still this has nothing to do with Muhammad because Al Bukhari is a collection of writings that are just myths and legends that they used to say at night to have fun at night because during the night back in the day it was very boring. You had to say such stories, you see?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, now let me talk about the biography of Muhammad. Al Mansur, the second Abbasid caliph, is the one who requested Ibn Ishaq to write the biography of Muhammad for his son Al Mahdi. And this is Al Mansur. He doesn't look from Arabia, he looks from Central Asia. Ibn Ishaq wrote this biography 130 years after Prophet Muhammad's supposed death. Now, the problem is the original of Ibn Ishaq is lost. The original of Al Bakkai, who is his student, is lost. The original of Ibn Hisham is lost. Robert Spencer's Did Muhammad Exist shows very well the problems with the biography of Muhammad, and also Crossroads to Islam shows very well how archaeology actually leads to Abdul Malik ibn Marwan and not Muhammad. Do you have anything to say about this?
Absolutely, no. This is a very important subject as well in itself, and you're right, right? Like the life of Muhammad. You can't find it for almost 200 years after the death of Muhammad. There's no life of Muhammad. And all the life of Muhammad that they associate with, like you don't even have the original, just like Bukhari. Same thing.
Yeah, and even the standard Islamic narrative, it gives it away. It tells you that Al Mansur, the second Abbasid Caliph, is the one who requested Ibn Ishaq to write the biography of Muhammad for his son. Why for his son? Because it's like writing a children's book, so it has to have a lot of mythology. This is within the narrative, you see?
But then at the same time, when Ibn Hisham actually takes Ibn Ishaq's life of Muhammad, he omits a lot of stuff. He says it in page number 500 something that I have omitted a lot of stuff because I don't feel like that it is actually the associates with Muhammad. So he picked up a fairy tale story and made another fairy tale story by removing a lot of fairy tales in the original fairy tale. Man, that is crazy. And then you don't even have the original of Ibn Ishaq. You actually pick up a book and say, this is what is the Ibn Ishaq statement. And then, man, that is crazy over crazy.
Exactly, but the main problem is that we forget about the caliphs. So when we look about Ibn Hisham, his dates, the only question I would ask, who was the caliph and what was the caliph's motives? So Ibn Hisham, don't assume that he had his own mind to edit out stuff from Ibn Ishaq. There was a caliph sitting over him, above his head, not literally, but above his head, telling him, Ibn Hisham, do this, remove this, and keep this as such. Maybe because the caliph himself, he used to have these same problems as mentioned in Ibn Ishaq. So it reminds him of himself and it could spark a revolution. During the Abbasid reign, there was a lot of revolutions. This is something that's not really talked about in the Islamic literature, but the rebels, they were there. So when you create the Muhammad myth, you have to make it align with the caliph who is actually in charge. You see?
Crazy after crazy, sir.
Okay, now let's talk about Asbab al-Nuzul, meaning reasons of dissension. The word Asbab al-Nuzul, the literal meaning is verses flying down from heaven, as you see here in the picture. But Muslim
MashaAllah.
translators, yeah, Muslim translators, they say it is, why was this verse revealed? That's how they put it in English to fool the English speaker, because they know that verses flying down from heaven is absurd. I say that this is a highly narcissistic, self centered approach to the Quran, later created by Muslims after owning a complete Quran. On one level, it was made to cover up the fact that they didn't know what the Quran is actually talking about. And on a deeper level, the idea was crafted to forge the life of Muhammad into the Quran. Of course, a lot of people ask, why wasn't Muhammad mentioned by name and it's just four times? Well, because it was not about Muhammad. It's easy. Reality is the Quran does not know Muhammad, and even the four mentions are highly debated. And now we are having evidence, not from me, but from Odon Lafontaine, a great French scholar, that actually the four references of Muhammad in the Quran were actually interpolations. They were added later. And it makes sense if you take them off and just read the text without them.
Yeah, and that takes me to another thing. If you go this slide. Now,
Yeah,
in this slide, you are assuming that the complete Quran is present when the first Asbabul Nuzul is being written. I have an issue saying that as well because the whole Quran wasn't even there for the first Asbabul Nuzul because some of part of the Quran were created much later, and then the secondary and the tertiary Asbabul Nuzuls will actually take care of those verses, or maybe Asbabul Nuzul might had something for which they created some of the verses of the Quran by themselves later, because the whole Quran you can't even find within 200 years after the death of Muhammad.
Yeah, but I'm talking about after these 200 years. I'm assuming also after. So I'm
Ah,
even
okay.
later than what you're saying.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, what about Mecca and Medina? Or should I say Muhammad and Moses? The sin standard Islamic narrative it claims some verses were revealed in Mecca, some in Medina. Some whole surahs were in Mecca, some were in Medina. Reality is Muhammad's immigration or hijrah from Mecca to Medina is a hoax. It is remodeled on Moses' exodus with his people out of Egypt for being persecuted for their new monotheism. Now, the details of this scam are not to be discussed here because this could be like a whole live stream, just looking at the parallels between Muhammad and Moses. So, this
Ooh la
is,
la.
yeah,
I want to see that as well soon. So when you make a presentation, do let me know. We'll have another one.
for sure. So, this is another sin standard Islamic narrative hoax to make the Quran fit the story of Muhammad. Now, adding insult to injury, no one actually agrees which verses are in Mecca and which are in Medina. Sometimes half of the verses in Mecca, the other half is in Medina. Now, I want you
And
to picture
sometimes,
this.
and
Yeah.
sometimes this is so silly. Chapter number 73. You'll read from verse number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They are Medina. 10, 11 are, sorry, 10, 11 are Medina. 1 to 9 are Makkan. And then 10, 11 is Medina. And then 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 are again from Makkah. And verse number 20 is from Medina. And then 21, 22, 23 is again from Makkah. This is stupidity. How can you say that a chapter of the Quran is like how like chapter of the Quran can either be revealed in Makkah or in Medina? How can you say like in a sequential chapter, just two sentences within the chapter is from Makkah, like 9 years later, and then you read another seven sentences they are from Makkah, and then again another sentence from Medina. It's just so stupid. It's a
Of
joke.
course, it's beyond stupid. Now, here, let me show you something. Let's assume Mecca and Medina, and then I told you, let's assume we were there in the 7th century, and I told you, Adam, hey man, let's go grab some. And after 2 to 4 weeks, I tell you, coffee. Absurd.
Oh, I
Because
thought
how can I say
you had a camel
the
in the middle. I thought you were asking me to get grab some camel urine cocktail. So I'm sorry. I was thinking of something else.
no, no, we will keep this for after the live stream.
Ah, okay.
You see, so this is the stupidity of the Mecca and Medina phases, but they were created so that you always assume that there was a Mecca and Medina phases. That's the reason for it. Now, here are some things that are not mentioned in the Quran by name or maybe at all. Hijrah or immigration specifically from Mecca to Medina, never mentioned. Isra and Mi'raj, which is fraudulently translated as the night journey in English, not in the Quran. The doctrine of abrogation, not in the Quran. Black stone, Ashura, Muhammad's wives, Muhammad's companions, Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, 5 pillars of Islam, and much, much more. These things only come from the sin standard Islamic narrative.
Ouch. So nothing that is making Islam is not mentioned in Quran. That's just so bad.
Yeah, it's
Like,
always superimposed from writings that are much later.
ouch.
So I say enough is enough. The sin doesn't have holes in it, it's just one big hole. Like Dr. J. Smith always says, you got the wrong man at the wrong place, doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Even Muslim scholar Yasser Qadi, he acknowledges that the standard narrative has holes in it. Don't worry, I will barbecue the sin on my YouTube channel. So if people are interested, they could just subscribe there as Saint Murad. So the question is, the sin is a hoax? These tools are not valid to crack the Quran. A big chunk of the Quran we can never understand. It is because of these tools. These are the things that hinder the progress. They hinder academic progress. They ruin everything. You see? What do you think so far before going to translations?
Right on the spot, brother. Right on the spot.
Okay, Muslim and non Muslim Quran translations. The question with the Bible is which translation is better? But with the Quran, which translation is worse? Right? We all know that they are very bad. Which one is worse?
Interesting. Nice comment.
Quran translations are so bad and so deceptive that they are an online meme. They call it the science of bracketology from all the brackets. Brackets are longer than sentences in Quran translations.
Oh, sometimes the brackets are like two lines and the whole line is one line.
Exactly, because they fear giving you the Quran without the sin because it will fall.
Couldn't agree with you more.
So, here, what did these people have next to them as they were translating the Quran? I'm talking about Muslim and non Muslim. They all had the sin next to them. You see? Muslim and non Muslim translators of the Quran is the only book in history in which, if you want to know the meaning of a word, you never open a dictionary, you go to Persians. And Muslim and non Muslim, they both started from Surah 1 but never created their own concordance. It is evident from the lack of consistency in word choice.
Hey,
Let's look here.
Murad, before you go, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry. I'm gonna steal the screen just for 1 second for one verse. Okay,
yeah,
one of my beautiful verses. Okay, so you were talking about brackets, and I want to show this. This is Quran, the first chapter. Alif Lam Mim. Forget that. Zalikal Kitabu la rayba fi. Okay, we have an issue in the Sahih International Translation as well, or the Pictal translation. But anyhow, this is the scripture. It's not the right translation, but forget that. Whereof there is no doubt, a guidance unto those who ward of evil. Still, one line of Arabic is giving you one line of English, right? Makes sense? Okay, maybe some people will say this translation is right. Okay, Murad, don't laugh, okay? Don't laugh.
yeah.
This is the book, the Quran, whereof there is no doubt, a guidance to those who are al muttaqeen, the pious believer of the Islamic monotheism who fear Allah much, abstaining from all kinds of the sin and evil deeds which He has forbidden, bracket close, and love Allah much, bracket start, perform all kinds of good deeds which He has ordained, bigger bracket closed.
So, this is for the viewers. What do you think of this?
So one line of Arabic has one, two, three, four lines of English translations. Like, and it's like all brackets. Check this out. Curly brackets, okay, but they have like the bigger bracket because within the bigger bracket you want to have a smaller bracket and a smaller bracket close, and then something under the bigger bracket, and then another smaller bracket. It's like a mathematical formula that they're running, like bigger bracket and smaller bracket, and crazy man. This is absolutely nuts, like literally. So
And you
yeah,
know,
when
this
yes,
translation, Hilali and Khan, these people, especially if any context has to do with Jesus, they go berserk. They go crazy. With Jesus, they will have maybe 5 sentences because they're so desperate to prove that he never created, that there was no Trinity. It's so desperate. It's
there you
very
go.
bad.
So there you go. Brackets. Oh, people of scripture, Christians, not Jews. Okay, forget Jews, no Jews, just Christian. Do not exceed limits in your religion, nor say Allah out but the truth. The Messiah Isa, brackets, Jesus, son of Mary, not Maryam, then Mary, was no more than a messenger of Allah and His word. And what type of word? Word is be, okay? And He was. Okay, this is the word. The word is not the word of Allah. It is be and he was. So make sure nothing else. Which he bestowed on Maryam the Mary and a spirit Ruh created by him. So yeah, dude, it is absolutely nuts. I fully agree with you. These guys, these translations are one of the worst translations. And if you go back to your translation when you said the slide bracketology, it is a bracketology. It is a stupid bracketology if you see it. So yeah, I agree with you, sir, and I'm sorry I stole your show for a little bit. Getting your slide back in, it's so nuts. It's just crazy.
Yeah, also when you see the word لا تقولوا ثلاثة, they say not three and then they say Trinity. No, it's three. Three separate.
There you go. Let me open that one as well. Yeah, but rather I already did that, but this is just so crazy. Let me go back where it is. Say not three. There you go. There you go. Say not three bracket Trinity. Cease. It is better for you. Man, it is stupidity to be sure. I don't have words, but I will steal your sentence. The Quran translations are translations of bracketology. Can you go back to that slide? I love that slide.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but to be honest, this was a comment from one of our viewers called Juliet. So this is her word. So I stole it from her, but it made me laugh so much. But that's the reality.
I'm gonna steal it from you now. The science of bracketology. This is now my go-to word now. Islam Quran is the science of bracketology.
Yeah, exactly. You will never find a Quran translation without brackets. It's almost impossible.
Crazy, right?
Okay, am I back on screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here is how the sin would corrupt a Quran translation. Let's look ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها. The word ننسخ and آية. Almost every single Quran translation uses the word abrogate a verse. This is sad because if you look here, the word is mentioned 4 times in other contexts. This is the very same word. ننسخ نسختها ينسخ نستنسخ. The Arabic word nasakha has a common theme in all these contexts, and it's not abrogate. Do they know the common theme? No, they don't. Let's look here. Nansakh and Aya. You have Usama's translation, and you have Robert, and you have Sahih International. They say abrogate, all of them, and they say verse or revelation, all of them. Do you see any difference between Muslim and non Muslim translations here? And of course, as you know, how much I respect and love Osama and Robert, this has nothing to do with it. This is just that they used the sin understanding of the verse. So do you see any difference here?
Nope.
Now, people, there are a lot of other people that are creating sin-based translations. I'm not talking about Osama and Robert, but people who are less qualified. I say that's like beating a dead horse. This is not a good idea. You should invest more time in doing something else. Now, here, Osama and Robert, they will say something along the lines of jihad means fight the infidels, which is not wrong. But I say something else. I say jihad used to mean exert effort, but the sin turned it into holy war only. So, jihad meaning fighting the infidels only comes from the sin, but the word in its original form, it only means exert effort. It's as if they are saying that gay means a homosexual only. I say, in the 50s, gay used to mean happy, now it strictly means homosexual. So that makes me an apple and they are oranges. This is just a different methodology. You have anything to say here?
You are right on spot. I fully agree. They are using the narrative and they're doing it according to the narrative, and that's perfectly fine. And that is why we love to read your translation because it is not using the sin. We gotta have some apple as well.
So here, you have the Muslim translators of the Quran. They say the Quran can't be 100% understood because it is from Allah, because it's a miracle. On the other side, they say it can't be 100% understood because it's from a madman or demon possessed or the Quran is stupid, something along those lines. But you see, they both rely on the standard Islamic narrative. They are both using the same tools. The difference is Muslims, most of the times, they are liars. They are trying to make Islam look better. But on this side, most of the time, they are sincere and they are trying their best to give the English speaking audience the reality, but again, according to the sin. So that makes them all oranges in this regard. Now, here, I want to test your cooking skills. If I were to give you,
No. Okay, please.
if I were to give you white sugar, eggs, baking soda, vanilla, and milk, what would you make in the
Cake.
kitchen? Cake.
Yeah.
So you could have an amazing cake, and this would be from the Christian side or the non Muslim translators of the Quran, or you could have a horrible cake, like the Muslim side. You see? But the conclusion is same ingredients, same results. It will always be a cake. You see?
Yep.
So we've got a problem. What is the solution? A Quran translation that totally ignored the sin and worked with language only, aka the Murad translation, and this will be in our next live stream that we might schedule. So, this translation in the next live stream, I will tell you exactly how I did it and how I cracked the meaning of words without using the sin. People say it's impossible. No, it's not. It's just that you have to use the right methodology. And that made me come up with something completely different than the Quran. It's as if it's not a Quran. You see?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the link is already there to get the Quran translation by Saint Murad. That is in our description, and the moderators will be sending it. So we will be doing the next live stream on this subject Monday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please do join in and listen to some of the very exposition of the Murad Quran translation. That will be next Monday, 6 p.m. And before we close the stream, if anybody has a question, send it now. Kamlesh Nivani said, "Good to see you. नींद आ रही थी." So up now you are not sleepy, right? After this awesome live stream. Kaka Singh said, "The Starbucks part is funny below." I loved it as well. It was really fun. Wakas said, "Adam, kindly accept small part of my tie, sir. Thank you so very much." And like I said, send me an email on xmuslimadamseeker@gmail.com, and I will schedule some time with you to go live with you on your channel. So, guys, thank you so very much for being here. Saint Murad, this is your Quran translation that has been sent, which is already there in the description. Murad, if somebody wants to find you, how can they find you?
Well, I am Saint Murad on YouTube and on Rumble, and they could find me also, of course, on this Buy Me a Coffee website. They could get my translation. So yeah, that's all I have.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So if you want to find Saint Murad and have a talk with him or invite him in your channel, you can find him on his YouTube. That is at the rate Saint Murad, as he has shown in the presentation already. Or you can buy him a coffee and you can get in touch with him over there, or on Rumble, Saint Murad as well. The moderators will be sending the links very soon, shortly. So with that being said, uh, what would you like to say, Saint Murad, at the end? Because yes, we have been going through sin narrative. I have been going through sin narrative with the Muslims already, but recently this is the second video, and somehow it become a coincidence because I did the video on uh, Sunday with Robert Spencer, and then I'm doing another one with you, which are now showing that there was no Muhammad. It was all a hoax, and everything is just a build-up mythology to fit Muhammad in, and then sin narrative into this. And the whole narrative was established almost 200 years later, or even further later into the game. So, what would you like to say to the Muslims who are saying, nah, you are wrong, you are a liar, and all these blah, 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 blah? What would you like to say to them before we close the stream?
Well, I have a very depressing answer, but it's that really I do not think about how to counter their arguments. Because if I do so, it's really going to hinder progress. Because I know that deep inside, they're just, like if someone is throwing banana peels on the floor so that you slip, they just want you to slip. They hate you so much that they just want to make you slip, and that's it. They don't really want to engage, they're not genuine about it. So that's why I rarely have debates with Muslims. I rarely even reply to comments on the videos. It's just gonna take a lot of time, and they are just here to divide and conquer. This is the reality of the situation. But also, I want to tell you something that will be a surprise. In my Quran translation, it doesn't say the word swine or pork. So Muslims, they're allowed to eat pork as through my translation, because I looked into it in the Arabic dictionary, and I checked with the grammar, and I see that this was a fatal error, you see. So it
Ouch.
has
Can they actually have alcohol?
no alcohol, no.
So they can
But
still not have alcohol, but they can have swine. But Muslims nowadays, when we see, they do drink alcohol, but they don't eat swine. So it's kind of opposite what you are saying.
yeah, but
Ouch.
the word khanzir in Arabic, it could mean two things. It's not necessarily the pork, because even in the Arabic it says lahmul khanzir, the flesh of swine. Well, what about the fat of swine? Can I have the fat without the flesh? No. The Quran is saying something different. It's not talking about a pork or a pig whatsoever. You see?
Oh, interesting, interesting. All right,
Also, in
that is
my
very interesting. So this means that next Monday
yeah,
we're going to have some fun. So guys, you have some snippet of what is going to come in next Monday. So do tune in. I'm going to schedule it in a day or two. So do to tune in and click on the notification button so that you will be notified. Join in next Monday, 6 p.m. In the meantime, on Wednesday, 6 p.m., I'm going to have a discussion with Jay and Daughter of Christ on the word Saleh, and we will see the word Saleh on Wednesday according to Sin narrative, and then we will see the word Saleh from Saint Murad as well on Monday. So enjoy and have fun. Thank you so very much for being here, Saint Murad. Last words before we close the stream, sir.
last word is that if you do not attend this upcoming live stream, you're gonna miss a lot of surprises that you will not get from anyone else. So you should like the videos, you should share, and please get my translation now, because in the next live stream, I wanna give you a test. I wanna see who actually read it, and it's gonna be a fun quiz. So that's all, and back to you, Adam.
Ouch. So, guys, are you ready for test? Let's see. Thank you so very much. Have a blessed day, evening, or night, wherever you are. We'll see you on Wednesday, and then with Murad, I'll see you on next Monday, same time on dark time. Take care. Yeshua Akbarul Azim.